for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bova.
Here.
Mrs. Delaney.
Here.
Mrs. McBride.
Here.
Ms. Mungo.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Dr. Singh.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here.
Here. Thank you. We had an executive session at 5:15 to discuss personnel issues. Do we have any comments from residents on agenda items? And by residents, I mean you, Ms. Boyce. Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any board member discussion items? Anyone want to step forward? Please do so.
Are we talking about
or ever hold your peace.
Mr. Ritter?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
So I went out to Harrisburg a couple days ago with the PSBA, and they gave us two things to talk about, and I talked about a total of 5. One of them was this new thing that we're wrestling with, ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, GPT-4, and I tossed it to Senator Jim Brewster and Brandon Markozik. They're interested in it, but of course they're not technology experts, and that's okay. But I said, would it be helpful if we got together and had you lead like a panel discussion of some university professors or industry leaders or legislators who are up on this, or a teacher, the Department of Health or Department of Education. Put about 4 or 5 people on a panel, do it in Philadelphia, do it in Allegheny County, and just toss the subject out there and have folks discover what ChatGPT-4 might mean to school health and school education. They all like that idea. So it's on my plate to go ahead and try to get this arranged like May or June of next year, something like that. So I think we're on the right track trying to raise this with the PSBA's advocacy platform. You remember a couple months ago, this board voted to try to bring that forward, and they said it's a little too technologically focused for our battle plan for next year, but I think it's still necessary to bring this forward. So let's look for that. What I'm trying to say is, let's find a nice place in Allegheny County to do this. Bring some people in.
Okay.
So if we could do it at Gateway, that'd be fine. It doesn't matter to me, but someplace that, and have many school board directors go to it, because this is going to be of interest to not just the, school board members, but teachers, and kids, and everybody else, parents too.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay, John, you're in charge.
Thanks, John. Anyone else?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a way that we could possibly, or not we, someone take a look at the Ramsey dismissal? I'm hearing that the traffic is backed up pretty bad, dismissal time, and in case of emergencies, vehicles aren't going to be able to get down there. So we can take a look at that again.
So we have a history with this.
Correct.
And refresh my, maybe I'm wrong. I seem to remember that when our problem started, it had to do with that lot, that huge basketball lot, and we once used that to stage people who were coming to pick up their kids in their cars. And then there was a snow issue, and we had the plow, and all of a sudden Monroeville decided we couldn't use that.
Correct.
So I've talked to a number of people, and maybe I'm not getting either, I'm not asking the question correctly. If we were able to use that lot again, does that in any way solve the problem, do you think, or does the principal over there think, or?
I personally don't know. All I know is
it may help. It's when they're coming in. There's so many that's backing up on them.
Right. So I remember the conversation.
Maybe
right.
be able to get maybe 15, maybe more, if they snake it like they do at university.
Yeah, somehow they stack the cars in that.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, in that, it's a huge court. It's like 4 basketball courts wide. So they staged cars there, and to my knowledge, this problem didn't exist then.
Well, there was different dismissal procedures. Prior to that, what you're referencing is parents got out, parked there, got out of their car, came to the front to get the kids. Okay. Now they stay in the car with a placard in the car.
All right, so who's our expert in this? Who are we gonna entrust with figuring out how to solve this problem? Who would that be?
We'll look into it. Yeah, well,
I mean, because you even did that governor's drive. and
Right.
It really
Yeah.
doesn't,
Yeah.
cut down on the traffic. So I just, thought I'd bring.
use that lot, that would help a little bit, I think. We'll look into that.
Well, we used it for a long time without any ill effect on the lot. It didn't do anything to the court. The court, which rarely gets used, but still it didn't do anything. So, okay, Dr. Rossi's on that.
Would that be an intergovernmental?
Well, if the solution, if one of the solutions is to use that court, there's that thing about it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, but someone may be watching this, so I'm not suggesting we do that. So perhaps an intergovernmental thing makes sense. Yeah, sure.
Let's see what they come up with. Also, I had asked in our executive session, but Dr. Chakey, any further information about Divine Mercy Academy with the bus?
Yeah, yesterday they did a trial run. They added an additional bus to the run, and it did increase, it decreased the time that the students will be on the bus. But we're looking at potentially 35 minutes now, as opposed to over an hour. So in adding this mini bus for the PM route, it should take care of the problem.
Do they have any idea when it would start?
We do have a driver issue. They lost 2 drivers today. It's been ongoing. They're down, they get up, they gain 2, they lose 3. It's just not, it's been a nonstop process. I don't know. As of today, they don't know who would actually be driving that route. It's an ongoing issue. It's continued. That's what we know. But yeah, until we get authorization to move forward with it.
Before you do that, I don't want to editorialize, but I've been told that one of the reasons that bus drivers tend to not want to drive buses is because of the behavior of the students. Is that correct, or is that some urban legend?
We do get a lot of, that has happened. Yes, that does happen.
So there's a chance that if we got our students to behave themselves in an appropriate way, we might have less of a problem with bus drivers.
So
Listen,
I've always
we
been
once sent a
told,
person to the moon without the computer capability to do it, but we can't talk about getting kids to behave on a bus?
well, it's always been said that riding a bus is a privilege. So if they're not following the rules, why are we still, I mean, you would know this. Why are we still letting them continue to ride?
It's not the responsibility of the bus driver. It's the building level that makes that decision. Once the incident report is submitted, they decide how that's going to go happen.
So
The driver has no control over that.
are our current policies meeting the needs of transportation and the bus drivers, to your knowledge?
We would really
It
have
seems that we have a policy in place, but first of all, it requires the bus driver to be able to drive the bus and note who's doing what in order to submit the proper.
We do get daily requests for bus videos for behavior issues, and the principals are always trying to address it at every angle. I know they're doing a good job.
There's more to it. The bus, the video she's talking, there's a lag time.
Yeah, there's a lack of it.
So, those are some other things we need to address. It's not, getting the video is not immediate. So it could be a couple of days.
Bus aids.
No.
How much does it cost for an extra run?
A bus can cost us upwards of 60 to 70,000 in a school year, a single bus.
Is the same for the mini thing we're talking about?
Yeah, they're just slightly less expensive, but it's in the range.
Okay. All right, well, I've got another thing.
Yes. Do we have any updated information on the dance studio? I know we had talked about trying to get that back in working conditions. I was asked about it because with musical coming up that, with all the mirrors in there, it's always better for the kids to see themselves. I just didn't know where we were with that, if anything.
We have a grounds meeting coming up, don't we?
We do. Mr. Brown he's not with us?
He's on.
Bob?
Come on. We had given that to the architect to work on,
So I would have to check with him to give you an update to that status.
I think.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay, all
Will we
right.
have it by the ground meeting?
Last meeting's this week?
Yes,
Will you have it by that, Bob?
yes, I will.
Okay,
No,
thanks.
it's not this week.
No, okay, it's November.
November, it's November.
Second.
All right, any other board member?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Why don't you check our Google Calendar?
I am doing it, it comes up in red.
You're right, I see it right there.
See, I'm not the only
You
one
missed
that
that, Ms.
uses
Munger.
this.
It was
Mine's in
earlier when they
yellow,
were yelling
November
at me
8th.
about
I have November 8th.
Google Calendars or something or other.
Building and ground is not,
November 8th. I have.
Oh, I was on an even number, I said 2 and 6, that equals 8.
Okay. Any other board member discussion item, or, yeah, whatever I said was right. Anybody else? No, excellent, let's move on, let's go. Michael, Socrates, let's hear something about bills and financial statements, et cetera.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approve the list of bills for October of 2023 as listed.
Got it.
Go ahead, Greg. Okay, we have an item tabled. Hang on that one. Personnel agenda, Ms. Jessel.
Thank you. We have 1 resignation, 1 leave of absence, 2 transfers, 1 employee recommended for hire, additionally salary rate adjustments, supplemental contracts, and volunteers.
Okay.
We do have 1 action item tonight. Conferences.
Let me interrupt one quick second, I'm kind of rushing through this. Anybody have any questions so far? No? Excellent, sorry about that. Now we're back.
Okay, for the next section, it is an action item for 2 individuals to attend conferences. Karen Montgomery for the K-12 SAP training, which will be virtual, and Andrea Jessel for the collective bargaining symposium.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions on those?
Andrea, when would you be going?
It's October 17th, so I'd leave on the,
Okay,
Yeah, the
there just wasn't a date, that's why I just wondered.
sorry.
Anybody else? Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Beautiful.
Next section, items for discussion. Item number 1, college and high school partnerships. Discussion to approve the following college and high school partnerships. 1 with Seton Hill University and Carlow University for AP US Government and Politics, and also 1 with La Roche University for Social Movements in America. And just to clarify, these courses are taught by Gateway teachers, and students can earn credits within these universities. Item number 2, approve the comprehensive plan, induction, and professional development steering committees. Item number 3, East Wind Symphony through Visit Monroeville, facility agreement with Gateway High School Auditorium. Item number 4, 3 conferences as listed for Mike Zorelis, Andrea Jessel, and Julie McEwen.
Item 5, acceptance of district donations received during the 23-24 fiscal year. Item A, donor Arthur J. Gallagher Insurance. They donated 4 coats for students at the Gateway Middle School. Item B, donor Love, Learn, and Play. 2 tables, 3 chairs, a kitchen set, play food, play lawnmower, art easel, fell board, and writing center for students at University Park Elementary School. Item number 6, award of bid moving services for the opening of Gateway Middle School. Approve the moving services bid for the moving project from Mosside Middle School to Gateway Middle School to American Office Installers at a cost of $38,500 as listed in Exhibit A.
Okay, have any questions on any of those items? Sounds like we do not.
So when you get the moving service, did you have to give a date?
Yes, we met with them last week up in Mr. Brown's office, and when Mr. Jack, the middle school principal, was there, and we're probably going to start even earlier when school lets out, they're gonna start that evening. The company that won the bid, they're gonna start that evening. It's very interesting. Like the library, you don't put boxes and books, they shrink wrap it. They have the dollies to get everything out. They bring their own individual boxes that they stack, or staff that don't have to put them together. The files, they take them as they are. So they're very experienced. They just did CMU, and I've had good references from other schools that have used this service. But it's good to answer your question. It's going to start whenever the last day of school is, over the Christmas break, and they can come out prior, whenever Mr. Jackson needs, and they come out in the evening and say, hey, this room's ready to go. We're not waiting till the last minute.
So basically, towards the end of the school.
Toward the end, yeah, before the Christmas holiday, or Christmas break.
Oh, you have on here the expected move dates mid-November to
Well, they're
December.
going to start doing some stuff over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Did we, I know we had discussed that we planned to have the students do, was it a dry run or get them over there? Was that going to be in December, in January?
Yes, it all depends on when we get the,
And one of the residents asked, was there going to be some kind of open house for them to see?
yeah, we're just waiting for the permit. The open house probably won't be till after the new school.
Okay, for residents.
Yep, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Any other questions? Nope.
Lost track of where we are. Where are we?
Resolutions. Got any of those? I don't think so. How about comments from resident on non-agenda items?
I'm going to go back, and I apologize because I missed something on an agenda item, and I'm talking to administration. This came up over the weekend. It's great you're communicating with the families and the parents, but when you're looking for people to be on steering committees and you're talking about comprehensive plans, inductions, and professional development, and all that good stuff, you need to explain to them what you're talking about. Not everybody in Gateway who's a parent has a degree in education, and they don't know what you're talking about. So what they do is, they don't come to you, they talk to each other and try to figure out, well, what exactly is Gateway doing? So the parent I talked to is an educator and said that you're trying to communicate, and that's good. But when you communicate, you have to explain what you're communicating. You can't make the assumption that these parents understand what you're saying. Because a lot of them don't know what a comprehensive plan is. And they may volunteer if you would clarify what it means. And you don't want them talking to each other because that's like blind leading blind. So I think you need to explain. Do a little more explanation. Communication is great, but go that little step further and explain to them what you're communicating to them so they understand. You might get more parental participation if you do that.
I will say I did see that, Cheryl, that people didn't know what it was.
And then you get on Facebook and they start saying,
And yeah, I forgot even, but yeah, like that. Maybe just like a little description right under.
We did send a letter to the families and explained a little bit of it through Parent Square, but we can certainly do that again.
Because some people did say, I looked on the website and it wasn't there. So even if they missed their Parent Square.
Yep. They could scan that too and sign up. There's some information. We'll send it out. We'll send it out.
Did you explain it to them this year? Because when you went to building last year, that was talked about. But then you've got kindergarten parents coming in, pre-K parents coming in.
We have about 30 parents signed up right now. We actually plan on sending another one. That's why we didn't have the list just yet.
Just explain to them what that is.
Certainly. Yep. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, let's move on to superintendent's report.
Yeah, we're going to present next week. I know there's a few things going on this evening. We have the Allegheny County Chorus that we're actually hosting. It starts at 7 o'clock tonight.
Got it.
Awesome.
Dr. Chake, anything for you?
Nothing further.
How about over there?
I'm good, thank you.
Ms. Jessel?
Good to go, sir. Thank you.
How about any board committee reports? Anybody want to do anything?
No.
Yes, ma'am?
Yesterday, the people know and were aware, I know many were celebrating, I believe, still Columbus Day, but actually also October 9th was Indigenous Peoples Day. And they have started that. At least 130 cities are observing that as well. And also on October 9th, which was yesterday, Benjamin Banneker, famed African-American astronomer, scientist, almanac author, surveyor, died on October 9th at 74 years of age. Tidbits.
Anything else, ma'am?
I just want, can I have my turn, please? Okay, I didn't know if you were going to run. I just want to congratulate also Gateway. I was able to attend the PIMBA performance that they did on Saturday. Dr. Rossi was there, and they did a really great job, and I just want to commend them on that. And if anybody is open for tonight, up at the auditorium, there's a free concert, and I had a sneak preview, Mr. Bova and I, and these kids are really good, so.
Yeah, pretty spectacular. Before we get to Mr. Dice, I'm sure everyone saw in the news horrible events in the Middle East. And of course, we've got a lot of folks in our community who are affected by that. And I don't actually know what to say about such horrors, aside from, you know, our prayers are with everybody for some kind of speedy resolution of a largely unresolutionable situation. But cooler and calmer and smarter heads have got to prevail. So, and I think Mr. Dice has some.
Yeah, just very shortly, or short. October 16th, the brief is due on behalf of the MS4 litigation. The defendant, in this case, has already briefed it and sent it on to the Supreme Court. So, October 16th, our brief from our side is due. Remember, Commonwealth Court agreed with basically our position that this is a tax, and if it's a tax, the municipality can't levy it against you. So given that I've learned of that, I would suggest to you that we'll probably get a result from the Supreme Court right around the first of the year. They're pretty quick. They're going to turn that around, I would think, in 2 to 3 months. So that litigation could come to a crashing end. That realizes an extra $22,000 a year for you, which you haven't paid. And that's a good thing. That's been going on now probably 6 or 7 years. So that's something that you can look forward to.
But if we haven't paid it, so we're just going to be getting the
Well,
$22,000
the important thing is you don't owe
Right,
it.
correct,
You paid it once.
correct.
So Jack, a couple things. Is it okay now?
Of course.
So we had that see you at the poll a couple weeks ago, September 27th. Did anybody go to that? Did anybody see how it went?
I did.
Did you not?
I was in Phoenix.
Me too.
Kids meeting together around the poll to pray. I like that. Number 2, the PSBA Delegate Assembly is going to meet on Saturday, November 4th in Harrisburg to help develop their 23-24 legislative priority document. So I'm going to go to that. Next, I mentioned a few minutes ago, I went to the PSBA's Advocacy Day in Harrisburg. I met with the Majority Chair, House Education and Minority. The Senate and the House, Majority and Minority Chair people. That would be Schweier, Argel, Williams, and Topper. And they talked about the things that are on their plates for education over the next couple, weeks and months. And they said, any questions? And I shot my hand up and I said, this regards student safety. How do we keep students safe who are changing sexes, and they cascade that onto a team, and the team travels to another school? In other words, how do we best keep our kids safe in the proper locker room and give the parents control as to which student enters the locker room and changes, clothes in front of students that the parents would definitely not want to happen? Or if there's a wrestling, football event, or a soccer event, or a smash from a volleyball player, and someone is much, much stronger because they are male, they have male chromosomes, and they hurt someone who has female chromosomes. How can we prevent that from happening? So pretty much just laid the puzzle pieces out on the table to see what they would say. And they hummed and hawed. Those are my words. They said, we can't decide it, we want the principals to decide. Someone from the back of the room said, yeah, that's what we did, we made a policy. And I know in Laurel School District, which is a couple of miles north and west of here, they came up with a policy about 2 or 3 months ago where they hammered through this issue, not just them, but all school districts are hammering through this issue. And they said, we would rather forfeit our game if we go to another school and their policy is different than ours. We won't have our girls go into the wrong locker room and see what they shouldn't see or something like that, or put them in danger of being crushed or hurt or bent or something like that. So I thought, that's really, really brave of them. I hope that other school districts notice it, and I'd like to see from a financial perspective whether they get sued, for either doing it or not doing it. So a lot of data needs to come from this. They've stepped forward to begin to collect the data on it. So let's keep our eyes on that. Because we sure don't want our kids to get hurt or exposed in a way that is untoward for the kids. So if it goes okay with the folks at Laurel, I'd like to sort of bring that policy down here, have us chew on it, and maybe adopt something similar so that other school districts can find a way to keep the kids safe as they're advocating for having women's sports, come up to the level of men's sports in universities and colleges and schools as well. But this is, like they said at PSP, this is a sticky situation, and they put the onus on the principals to make the decision as to whether a boy is a boy or a girl is a girl. I don't think the principals should be put in this situation. I think the school boards should, or the legislature should, so that the school boards can follow a cogent protocol and adopt it. But that's not the state of affairs right now. So I'm really I'm a coach. I'm really quite concerned about this. And I'll keep us informed as to what's going on. But right now, I don't think people have the guts to ask the question and answer it the way it ought to be addressed and answered, and then take the heat. That's my report.
So, I'm not sure how one quantifies guts. It's obviously a contentious.
I finished it up by saying, and so I recommend that male or males and females are females.
Yeah, you said exactly what you believe.
What do you think? They couldn't tell me.
I understand. So just to be clear, so everyone understands, the state policy is that principals determine who participates in which sports. And anyone could look at that and say, yeah, they completely bailed on the issue. They handed it off to someone else at the local level, and each school then and each principal has the opportunity to do that as they see fit. Clearly, we're at the beginning of this conversation. Right, and one of the reasons we are at the beginning is because in terms of statistics, it's still a statistically very small group of people who are affected, unless, of course, you include every female who might be affected by someone participating in the sport who someone thinks shouldn't be. That said, it's still a small statistical group. So my hope is that this conversation be had in some cool and calm and reasonable way where people get to present, their side of this. I'm sure you've heard that for young people transitioning, sometimes sports is one of the few things that keeps them grounded and feeling like they belong somewhere. And we certainly wouldn't want, as a matter of course, to just remove that. I've had people suggest to me, well, why don't, and this would be in air quotes, they just compete with each other? And of course, the simple answer is there's no way to do that. So if, as a result of your conversation, we find some way of going forward, and Laurel, you're right, Laurel came up with their plan. Laurel announced to the world, here's what we're doing.
Right.
So we have a chance to see how Laurel works, not just in terms of litigation, but in terms of kids who might otherwise participate not getting to participate. We'll get to see that. So, right. And perhaps there'll be more schools that jump on board so we have a bigger data set. And we will find out. But it's brave to bring it up, and we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I think I might have missed Leslie. You?
No.
Dr. Singh?
No, thank you.
Mr. Williams? Come on, go. Nope. Anyone else? Bruce did his thing. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Second. Get out of here.